Welcome to another episode of the Chicks on the Right podcast, where we get to talk to our friend Zach Abraham from Bulwark Capital Management, sponsor of the show. Very happy to have him here right ahead of next week's election. It's coming. It's happening. We're almost there. And I keep telling Daisy and our audience that I feel like this is the last few days of normalcy before the shit hits the fan. The polls are all over the place. What are your thoughts?
Tell us what's up.
Look, as much as on the line for Tuesday, there's a very large event on Saturday that has a lot on the line as well. There's a fourth grade football championship game happening.
My gosh!
And my boys are in the finals, so
that's amazing.
So I've got all kinds of reasons to be on pins and needles right now.
Right.
So no, it's. I was telling you guys off air before we started that, and I don't want to get into it too much, but I've never personally been this nervous for an election, because the implications of this election are going to have direct impacts on me and my business, in a lot of different ways. And unfortunately, there's a lot riding on it. There's just a lot riding on it.
Us too. We feel that too, like from a whole different perspective, like from a free speech perspective. And then I guess also financial. There's financial implications for every small business owner.
There's something, and I can't remember if you and I, if we've talked about it before too, but there's another real danger that I've run up against, and that I think that it's only a matter of time until other Americans run up against, which is the proliferation of the regulatory state, right? Meaning, they have become weaponized, especially under this administration. And what's so scary about that is they are not bound by all of the constitutional and judicial laws that govern things. They can just come after you. They don't need a story. They don't need a reason. They don't have a timeline. I'm glad people don't have to go up against this, but I wish everybody did feel the weight of one of those regulatory industries, because you realize quickly into it, this has nothing to do with whether you were right or wrong. This has nothing to do with whether you did something right or did something wrong. This has to do with them wanting to do what they want to do. And it's really that simple.
So what's your gut telling you about because polls schmoles, right? Like, we learned our lesson from polls in previous elections that we thought Hillary was a lock, right? And then Trump surprised everybody, and that was great. But like, they're so tight right now. And I'll look at, one stream on X that seems, I'll get all hype about it. And then I'll see like all the doom and gloom in a few other tweets. And I have no good sense. I don't feel a pull either way. Do you?
Yeah. I think I do. I've had a decent, I thought Trump was going to win in 16 and said as much. I didn't say it much because I didn't think it would sell well with a lot of our people, but I thought Biden was going to win in 2020. And I think Trump is going to win comfortably.
Okay. Well, I like that. Then you're a good predictor.
and the reason now I say all that and watch, I could be horrifically wrong, but to me, I think that the campaigns are speaking really loudly, at least to me. One campaign looks like they're riding high. The other campaign looks desperate.
Calling us garbage.
They look like garbage. And I just think, I think the garbage thing is a perfect example, right? A comedian said something stupid at a rally, and we're going to try to make noise out of that. When the sitting president said it about America, I'm like, I just think it shows you how ridiculous they're getting. And I think the more petty that they get, I think the more desperate it shows that they are. And then on top of that, it was interesting because, they had that, she was at a bar, Kamala Harris was at a bar talking to Gretchen Whitmer or something. Did you hear about this? And the mic saying something like internal polling isn't looking good, or we're not doing well with
for young men, with men especially. Yeah.
And shocker. Right.
Right.
I don't think she's doing well with black young men either.
No.
And so I just, when I look at the demographics and I just look at the country, when I cannot believe that anybody that voted for Trump in 2020 would swing to Harris, right? Like that's, I mean, I'm sure there's one or two out there, right? I think that there are considerable amount of people that voted for Biden in 2020 that will swing to Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way Harris is more popular than Biden on a national scale.
I don't agree with, I think I'm right there with you on that. But when it comes to like, when people ask you, like in your line of business, if you're just out, yucking it up with other people that you do work with, and
other muckety mucks,
they're muckety mucks. It was a yuckety yuck. But when you're out, chit chatting about this stuff, if somebody asks you, well, why would you support Trump? Like, what's he going to do for the average American? Like, what would your answer be? Especially from your viewpoint as doing what you do in finance. Like, do you look at it strictly from a finance perspective, or do you look at other things policy wise?
So you guys will probably laugh when I say this. I kind of have multiple different ways that I look at it, right? There are moral aspects to, morality certainly guides who I vote for. Mm-hmm. Finance, economics are obviously a huge driver for me. I tend to try to focus on things. I mean, look, everybody likes things that will directly benefit them. That tends to be the stuff that doesn't sway me as much. Like, for instance, everybody was all excited about the Trump tax cuts. I knew that those tax cuts were going to have no impact on me. And people are like, what do you mean they're corporate? Well, they only applied to C Corps, so they didn't affect me. So I actually look at it, and this is one of my biggest frustrations, because I really think that this is undeniable. I look at it through a kind of a risk management lens. Okay, so if I look at the risk of both, candidates, right? People are the fear, despite 4 years in office showing absolutely no tendencies to go this way. The fear with Donald Trump is he wants to be a dictator. Okay, like there's absolutely zero evidence, and there's a ton of evidence pointing the other direction. And so to me, that's like saying you have a fear that he's going to turn into like Grimace, the character from McDonald's, right?
Exactly.
I'm not going to say it's impossible. But
he does have work experience there now, so
right, exactly. He's done the Fries Act,
and more than his competitor, actually.
Right, exactly.
And so I know what I'm getting there, right? And so the other thing is that I think that Donald Trump is a very convex investment, or a convex bet. And what I mean by convex bet is, like, what is the worst case scenario with Donald Trump if we're not being ridiculous? I think the worst case with Donald Trump is that we kind of get more of the same, right? And I think he showed through the first 4 years that that's the one thing he's not going to give you is more of the same. So I think there's considerable upside potentially. Mm-hmm. I look at Kamala Harris, and one of my biggest issues, and it's going to be always one of my biggest issues in an election, is the Bill of Rights, right? If we lose the Bill of Rights, we have nothing. Okay. Mm-hmm. One side has mentioned multiple times in public arenas and public forums that the Bill of Rights is one of the problems that we have.
Oh my God, yeah.
And to me, I just feel like what he did on January 6th, the Capitol, I'm like, dude, even if your ridiculous rendition of that day is correct, which for the record, I don't think it was a smart idea for people to go there. I never would have been there. I wasn't supportive of it. I thought it was dumb all the way around. Okay. But still, you are talking about people that are protests that quote unquote got out of hand. We'll forget about the videotape we have of police opening the gates and letting people through. We'll forget all that. Okay. We'll color it the worst way it could be. A bunch of people doing something they should have been doing, versus a party that is telling you that the Bill of Rights is the problem. If you think democracy is more under threat under Trump, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. Right.
We say that all the time. I swear we say some similar stuff all the time. Like, we can't help. How can we help you? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that these people watch the legacy media, and that's the hardest thing. Like, it's just, they watch the media, they believe it, and I hope we pull it out. I hope we pull it out, you guys. I do.
Well, and I feel like by the next time the three of us talk, mm-hmm. I just can't imagine what will be happening in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, I shudder to think how crazy things might get, mm-hmm. regardless of the outcome. It's going to be crazy. You know?
Yeah. I I just don't see it. I think he's going to win, and I think he's going to win surprisingly comfortably.
I hope you're right.
I love that.
She just hasn't made it, like she just hasn't made a case. The other thing is that I think Donald Trump was probably always going to have a tough time getting elected in back-to-back elections, right? You need a break, right? You know what I mean? Like, and I think people are like, it couldn't get any worse. And I think a lot of people are like going, okay, it could get a lot worse.
It could get worse. Yeah, we've seen it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, just think of all the people that you've heard come out. It kind of reminds me of, I feel like, Rod Blagojevich, for crying out loud, is pounding the table for Trump, right? Like that's just, it blows my mind, right? He's telling me that and he's saying to Tucker Carlson that that Daley is that he thinks Daley's supporting Trump in this election.
And then you look at the people the people that are around him. He's got like Elon, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, all these, and then like just everybody, like Tucker, everybody that is like that he surrounds himself with. Those are the people that we want to have on our team, Yeah. And I it's just very, very hard for me to understand. Like you said, I see some of these people that traditionally would be conservative, and it's like, remember compact discs, how like the disc would skip? Just keep going. Yeah. It's like their disc skipped on January 6th. And it's right.
Like, it's all Trump. They believed the CNN thing. They can't get it out of their head. Yep. Did he handle that correctly? No. Did he incite it? No. Did he stubborn? Did he just taking that and going an assault on democracy? I mean, it's just
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we always appreciate your perspective, and we always tell people that if they need financial advice, that you are the guy. So how can people find you for that?
Yeah, so pretty easy. Go to bulwarkcapitalmanagement.com. We've got our last risk seminar coming up I think on November 21st. And, just Google Know Your Risk Radio podcast. That'll hook you up to the radio show and all that kind of stuff. So pretty easy.
Awesome.
Right. Great. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, ladies. Fingers crossed.
Yes. And toes.
Yes. And toes. Yes.
Thanks.
Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. Any references to performance of securities are thought to be materially accurate, and actual performance may differ. Investments involve risk and are not guaranteed. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Trek 24308.